Okay, this should be relatively quick. If you're listening to this, then you're on this page because the video is going to be right there. That is, which one? This document here. So you'll either want to print this out or at least have a piece of paper written down where you can answer, question 1, question 2, question 3, and then type your answers into this. This is your homework. This is what I want you to complete and submit through the assignment page. Then to get to Physio Ex, they don't allow to have me link you just to the activity. They have links to the quizzes, but I don't want you doing the quizzes because they're a waste of time. I just want you knowing the information that I want you to know. So you're going to go here, My Lab and Mastering. And then you're going to tell it to open My Lab and Mastering. And then you're going to say Study Area. And launch the study area. And then go to Lab Tools. Physio Ex. Endocrine system, metabolism, and thyroid. So you're just doing the first activity. Feel free to read the introductory stuff if you want to. You can either read this or you can review the lecture notes about the relationship between the thyroid hormone, the pituitary, and the hypothalamus so that you actually get something out of this activity and don't just spend an hour clicking away all day. So read through it, blah, blah, blah. You can just skip right ahead to the experiment. The pre and the post lab quiz are not part of your grade. All right, so now we're at the experiment here. I'll try and take you through it quickly, but also without losing you. And here you have to read carefully and be kind of careful about how you do things just so that you don't lose your data. As I said, it's repetitive, or not repetitive, it's tedious, but you're basically doing the same thing 12 times. So what you're going to do is you're going to get basic metabolic rates for these 3 rats, and then you're going to inject each rat with a different drug and do the metabolic rate again. So you're basically taking the metabolic rates of 3 rats 4 times. So you'll get quicker at it. You just need to not get so quick that you lose your data. So you drag the rat over, which is what it's telling you to do up here. And then you hit next, and then it says select weight. You do the weight, and then you hit next, and then it says select the clamp, blah, 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 blah. That's this clamp here. Next. Then it says set the timer to a minute and select start. So there's a minute. Start. So you'll notice that this water level here is going up. So what's going on here is that the rat is consuming oxygen. It's exhaling CO2, but all of the CO2 is getting bound up in these calcium carbonate rocks. So basically the volume of air inside of this chamber is going down by the volume of CO2, by the volume of oxygen that the rat is consuming. And then what you're going to do is use this syringe to put air back into this tube and see what volume of air the rat had consumed in that minute. And you're going to use that as a measure of the metabolic rate. And it's going to end up being, if you look down here, millimeters of oxygen per kilogram of rat per hour. But let's see, so we did that. Wait, we hit next. Then this T-connector thing, we open that, we hit next, then clamp on the left side of the tube, that's this one again, so that the rat can breathe. We hit next. Then we have to eyeball the difference between, what is this, like 14 and 18 or something like that. I can tell you it's usually about 7 or 7.1, so let's just, and here again you have to hit the mouse like 70 times to get it to 7, because every click is 0.1. And then you inject. And so now it's putting air back into the tube to replace the air that the rat had consumed. And let's do 7.1. Hey, we're level. So we did that. We got them level, then we hit next. So here it asks you to compute stuff and put that in here. You don't have to do it. It'll do it for you. There's a little cheat, so you can just hit submit data. And I think you have to hit submit data again. So hit submit data twice. Then it tells you to palpate the thyroid, hit submit. Then you do need to make sure you hit record data. This is important. That's your number right there. So this is what is going to go up or down depending on the rat. Then record data, next, right? And then it says drag the rat back and hit restore, and that resets the whole apparatus. So you do the same thing for each rat, and then you inject each rat and do the same thing for each rat again. Just follow the directions, remembering to always hit record data. And this is what you're looking at. So you're going to do the first 3 rats. You're going to get basal metabolic rates for the first 3 rats, and you're going to compare the normal rat, the thyroidectomized rat, and the hypophysioectomized rat, and say if there are differences, if one is higher, one is lower, why. And then when you're doing the injections, it'll be the same kinds of questions. Which rat had a higher metabolic rate? Which rat had a lower metabolic rate? Or did the injection increase or decrease the metabolic rate? So I'm never going to ask you what the value was. I'm just going to ask you whether or not the metabolic rate was higher in one rat versus another, or what the effect of a given injection was on a given rat. So you want to be able to say, what should happen to the basal metabolic rate of this rat if I inject it with that drug, and then explain why. That's what you're looking for. And that should be what is here in a nutshell. So that's it. It is a lot of clicking, but you'll get better at it as you go. And if you think about what you're doing as you go, you will learn something, but you really need to start with an understanding of the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the thyroid.